Hi, this is Mia. It's like 4 minutes until 5, and we got this gate shutting. It actually shuts a minute early, and we got somebody still in there. I ain't going in there. Anyways, they told me to wait here for more than an hour, so I wasn't here the whole time because I was doing the other sites trying to find a bathroom and stuff. And now that it's winter, they're starting to lock up the bathrooms. Morning water, wash my hands. I'm so sad about that. Can't we just keep them heated 24/7? No. Excuse me, this one will shut. They were all shut during COVID, except for the ones at Mattapique, because they're outhouses and the running water is outdoors. I don't know why that's. Maybe because it's all underground. It's just a pipe that's on top. I feel like they turned that off a couple times. For some reason, I'm thinking this lady's sitting here and the gate is shutting, and I told her. I got mad because this lady was a little bit darker, and there's other two white people. I told them all that they had to pay to go in, and that we're closed, and they went in anyway. And then after this lady's been here for 20 minutes, she went and paid, but the white people did not. And I could have issued them each a $50 citation. This lady was sitting here near the car not using the pier, and the other people went to use the pier, and I was just like, you just drive by somebody and like, and they had DC plates, like, but we, you know, so you're saying that we can do such and such? And you hear a lot of privileged people saying, oh, so you're saying we can? It's like, wait, and then they drive away. Like, if you say, well, I guess, wait, no. No, I didn't say you got, I said you need to pay. I said, technically speaking, yes, it closes at 5, but technically speaking, it closes at 4:53. We close at 4:53, so they're actually trespassing right now. Gate or no gate, they're trespassing because it's after hours and it's not their property. So we're gonna take some classes. I think 4 of us. Like, how are we gonna fit 4 people in there? I just have to take a minivan or something. This lady is going to get locked in. The gate just shut and she's inside. I'm gonna pull up. It closed at 4:50. There goes my bathroom. I'm just gonna pull up to the street. I don't even care. She just got locked in. Did I not tell her that it closes at 5? I'm not gonna walk in there because we don't know if you walk in, like, because I know the pad, I have the clicker thing, but the battery goes dead on that and you walk in, how do you get out? So there's some people right to the right of me. These are Trump supporters. They had to sign up for a really long time. Hold on. This is our public road, so I'm not too concerned. This lady done locked. She's locked in. I wish they had like a gate for pedestrians. There's this guy here staring at me. I'm just staring him back. This guy's not the type of person you trust. I had people out in these parts threatening me with guns. I was a federal worker, and this lady's still in here. I told her that the gate closes. What if I just take off? I can't stay here because I gotta go home now. And I'm supposed to be patrolling the other site. I thought she was gonna be like, oh, it's 5 o'clock, let me drive out. Oh, here she comes. She done locked her seat. I have a way to get in with the clicker and a way to get out. Oh, she's still in there. Oh my god. I thought she was gonna... She's letting herself just ignore the rules. I was just gonna drive away and be like, whatever. She'll be there all night. When I tell him that some lady ignored me and locked in the gate, I just leave her in there. I say some woman. Hold on, here comes someone. What was I gonna say? The woman ignored my warning. She's still in her car inside the gate at Roman Coke, which is shut. So, I should just not tell my supervisor, just be like, this woman paid for parking after she parked. I'm gonna drive down the street. Is that rude to drive down the street? I'm not gonna go drive in there, because the thing is, if I open it from the outside, will it reset the timer? Or will it stay open? Or if I go in, do I use the clicker to shut it when I get in? Let's see. I'm gonna tell her she has to leave because this is ridiculous. Test my clicker. I might get stuck in here because of this lady. Ditch. This is a really steep ditch on both sides. It's like, it ends up being a turnaround because people, I think they don't realize that the, let me use the clicker. I don't even know how to use that thing. How do you use this thing?
Let's see if I just pushed the button like 3 times. It doesn't just shut. It didn't tell me how to use this. Does she not realize that she's trespassing? This lady is so... She thinks she can just sit here all night. But always make sure... So now I don't know how to close it. So I'm supposed to be patrolling somewhere else after 5. And she's just gonna sit here and... So now I don't know how to close it. Oh my god, guys. That was so annoying. I had to The clicker is not it's not letting it close. Oh shoot, did you hear that? Just like it's not shutting. Oh, there it goes. She was sitting there with the gate shut and not even think that she's gonna have to be let out. What's an appropriate title? So it sounds like I could use the gate to, I had to use the keypad. Oh my gosh. I had to use the keypad to shut that. So if you're inside, I don't understand. I need to ask some more questions. Also, I needed to use the keypad to close it again. Honestly, I went in and got her out, but needed to use the keypad to close it again, and then something special to do with the clicker to close the gate, question mark. Okay, let's go to the next scene, guys. And then I'll look at my schedule. That was not relaxing. It was supposed to be like he thinks we're just gonna we're chill. If you're ever in the truck and you're patrolling, especially by yourself, there's usually no breaks. So if you have to use the bathroom, you better not wait, especially when you have to drive around looking for a toilet or a porta potty. If you think oh, I'm gonna take a 15-minute break after such and such, but then you realize you have to use the bathroom, then you really need to be because you're out and you're far away from everything, and you're not I'm 30 minutes from where the headquarters is, and I don't have access to the building. I have access to a small area that has the thing where we have to log our fuel, and you can use the bathroom. I saw some kind of critter running around. So, like, I heard it. I guess it was dark in there. You had to use a flashlight. I guess the light is on the other side of the barn, and all that is behind the block gates. So you gotta decide, like, are you gonna go somewhere and use a porta potty, or are you gonna go somewhere are you gonna try to go in there? It's still a shared facility. It's not like I have my own office, a suite with my own bathroom and kitchen. Like, that's the idea for me being a doctor, like, to have it. So there's this lady, like, okay, I'm gonna keep it as, okay, there's a good thing and there's a bad thing. There's somebody who's a practitioner, it's not in my field, that's your only clue, and they have a beautiful, peaceful setup for their office space. And you drive by these buildings all the time and you just like, oh, what is that? There's something in the front, maybe veterinarian, or, you know, something, hardware store, or whatever, like a small, like, oh, this is a small little place. It looks expensive. In my mind's like, oh, it's in this St. Michael's, this looks expensive. And you realize there's another suite that someone has, and you go in, and it's huge compared to what it looks like outside. And you're like, oh my god, and it's got the bathroom and the reception area and all that. And you come back from that, and you're like, hearing, like, let's just scrap that story and be hypothetical. And just like, you know, I'm not going to do this. I was trying to figure out how to have a nonprofit because I am dealing with needing funding for super low income people that's insurance doesn't cover my services. So let's throw it out there. I need to be able to be eligible for grants and stuff, and I haven't ever made a profit at my business, so why am I not a nonprofit? And a nonprofit still pays its employees unless they're volunteers. Like, it still pays its light bill. It's still, I don't know, our church, I don't know if it's the same category. Our church was saying that you can still get charged for taxes, and that you don't think that it's tax-free or all this stuff. I don't know yet, and I'm actually going to look in that because I'm also a reverend/minister. So I'm like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I'm Dr. Mia, Dr. Reverend Mia. So what do you do when, and how do you do, I don't necessarily want reverend or minister because it's like technically I am an ordained minister, but I don't really want to be addressed as that, and I called myself a spiritual guide. Anyways, moving forward. Insurance pay, cash pay. So to keep it as simple as so that you can't figure out who this is or whatever, they say they have the insurance for their profit side, and if they get too much cash from their business, that they move it to their nonprofit. That's shady. That's not right. In my opinion, I cannot trust somebody who makes the amount of money they make. I told them it was going to cost $3,700 to rent a hotel room, and they said, oh, that's great. When are you moving in? And we were going to buy a trailer. Who in their right mind would blow a hotel room $3,700 a month? Unless you're making a buttload of money. Like, not $4,000 a month income, not $6,000 a month. You got to be making the 5 figures. There's no way. So I gotta check this. Like, oh, thank God. I'm so happy when the people do what they're supposed to do. Sometimes people are confused. This other client, it's not a client, this other public person in the public just now, he didn't speak English, and I said close. It's like put an X with his hands, and I had to give him a map and circle the thing and try to say the sunset. So there's people that don't necessarily read those signs. I think we should put pictures up. I'm gonna talk to my supervisor next week about that. I didn't want to do it, and I just thought of it. I'm like, well, you know what? That's what I do for my clients, patients that are illiterate. In fact, I need to call somebody. I gotta call somebody. I'm gonna, if I could build this myself. There's a lot that happens that is not fair to business owners. Grocery stores, people are talking about stuff being stolen. People are talking about, like having stuff expire, like my claims expire, or I think they don't expire, but maybe I mailed them, and who knows, maybe it expires in 5 days, but maybe it doesn't get there and get opened and get processed for 7 days, even if I have it dated and postmarked. Like, to tell you the truth, I think that's happened before. Try best to fax it and then look in a couple days. There's a way to look to see if it's being processed. So I have to go like backwards order probably with my business, even though the stuff early on is going to expire. It's really bad because it's stuff that can be charged from $200 to $500, and that stuff is like not going to get paid by insurance, but that's what the insurance people have as the fee. So why did they have on their spreadsheets that it's $300, but they pay me $0 to $75? Like, it's not like my price. Like, oh, I think that I'm worth that. That is a Medicaid and Medicare price. Should actually be one of the lower because it's public. It should be a low end. Like, you should charge twice as much. You should charge, like, depending on your skills and what you're doing in your visit. You need to do CPT code. So I'm going to do a backwards disclaimer. Someone complained that I had potty talk. Yeah, I did have potty talk about how to use a restroom. Think about it with truck drivers, bus drivers, people that traveling nurses. Last year I traveled for the U.S. Census Bureau, and the only thing I can remember that they had a survey at the end. I said, this is seriously an issue. You're driving 2 hours to go through 3 states to get to the address they gave you, and there's no bathroom, and you have to try to find one type of gas station. Wawa has public bathrooms. Last time I went to use Wawa bathroom, guess what? It was closed for repairs. I almost asked, I was about to explode. I almost asked if I could go into the men's. I was like, no, and I ended up having to go into a grocery store and just ask a customer who was going in. So it's like, if you work outside and you have or you can work, I've worked inside where they had a bathroom right there for the customers to use for labs, because you need to have them collect samples, and we had a bathroom and they turned it into the director's freaking office. Like, it was like a one that had multi-stall, so you don't have to wait in line. for someone to, you know. So I think that if you don't wear a diaper, that should be a normal part of your day. And if I talk about or do stuff on my videos that's not appropriate, well, guess what? I was beaten as a child and as an adult, and I had brain injury from my ex-husband, and maybe I'm talking about stuff that people don't want to hear, and that's why I don't have friends, because I hear people that have that same issue when their parents say, oh, such and such happened in a car accident, such and such happened, they don't have their, you know, mute button, like, I really love that person. I would make great friends with that person. Well, we're in the same category, because apparently neither of us think it's a problem. But I used to do that at the kitchen table, and my dad would be like, nope, don't talk about that. Like, I wasn't to be a doctor, and I didn't think about it. It's like I was born to be a doctor. Like, you're like 10 years old and you might be talking about, like, I was talking about earrings, someone with a bunch of earrings before, and they got queasy, and I was just like, but yeah, I like go to medical school. I haven't been to allopathic medical school, but our school was a little bit more old-fashioned, like kind of a bridge between old-fashioned and like super modern primary care, with all the shiny equipment and all the stuff that kind of are whole different story. But yeah, you would be studying. You're studying your notes. You're reading. You're seeing pictures. You're seeing things that are not what your friends at your social groups are looking at. Because you become desensitized, and you become like obsessed with trying to be as familiar, at least for me, trying to be as familiar as you can with the subject matter. Okay, so I gotta turn. There's a problem with the lights is people have like multiple lights. It's like the depth perception is like, oh god. I was like, here come the cars behind me. I just cut in front of the depth perception, if somebody has like two sets of lights on their vehicle, or they're too bright, or they're too dim, or there's like 6 cars right one after another, it's like, you don't want to misjudge, and you also, if people are close like that, you want to make sure that one of them isn't about to pull out and pass. So I am thinking of looking for the certain criteria for mixed use property, and there's some horrible property left at a affordable rate, but I mean, for all I know, it'll take 16 hours in a ATV to get, you know, that type of I'm gonna point it at the bathroom. It could take 16 hours to these people like looked at the machine and then they just kept walking. If I'm supposed to leave at 6, then I gotta like finish up. Here comes somebody, hold on. It gets crowded. It is 48 degrees, and there were a few cars here 2 hours ago. Now it's getting busy. It's windy. It's so windy. Let me try to show you the sunset. Let's see if I can try to. I think you could see it. Let me raise this up. Why is it like so? I don't know what side the camera's on. Sorry. Hopefully that was actually the sunset and not just like the sodium halide light. So I need your good thoughts and prayers, because the price of housing is super high. It's like, no, I can't afford it. Why can't I afford it? Because I can't get a bank loan because my income is low. But
that would be cheaper mortgage, including taxes and insurance, than it would be to keep renting. Well, how do you afford renting? Work my butt off. Okay. So, how do you live? Okay, I pay 4 times per month for rent than it would be to buy a place. Literally. How does that work? And the places I'm looking for are not in, like, super, like, rural used to be cheaper. You had to drive and go get gas and make sure you fill up on the way home. And you had to plan your Walmart and your grocery shopping. I'm just telling you what I used to do back in 1998 till 2001. Walmart was like 2 hours away, guys. Huntington, West Virginia was an hour, maybe a little more than an hour. And then, where's the other one? There was a small grocery store. I think we had a grocery store in our county. And we got some candy canes and they were like chewy. And there was a drive-through store. I didn't want to point right at this truck, even though that's what I wanted to point. But there's like, I was actually good at back end, but there's cars behind me. I didn't want to be like, how my lights on this dude while I was trying to get this fishing stuff together. I think there might be another person out, and I don't have my paper schedule. I believe I had it out at home because I was looking at it and showing my partner, and I ended up getting a new updated one anyway. So it's always good to have that one as your for sure one, and then your other one you can handwrite it in there because you don't want to that whole switcheroo thing. You don't want to be like, do I work today? Nope. And then you realize, oh my gosh, you're supposed to do they switched it because someone else isn't there. It's not like, oh, someone else is on the job and you can all cover each other. I gotta watch out for these guys that were flirting with me. That might be them there. Oh crap, I think it is. This guy's I'm about to look at my schedule. I want to tell you guys that there was a period of time that my ex-husband had to go take some classes in town, and we would take my baby, my daughter, and drive to the city, and then we'd park the car and he'd go to his class, and next door was a antique store, and they had records, and I was trying to figure out records and pianos and stuff, and it had to be a front for something because there was a super young guy at this antique store. I could have been, I don't know. You have city people that want to decorate. That was stuff back in the day when people still had big houses. They want to decorate with big wooden stuff. So it just feels like that memory sounds so adventurous. I used to smoke tobacco, like small amounts back then that I was trying to quit because of the child. I actually did quit for a little bit, but I was near impossible. I was like starving. It was curbing my appetite a bit. I tried really hard not to gain weight. When I quit smoking, I didn't at first, and then I went up to 223. When I was working out 3 times a week, I went up in weight. So, make sure this guy doesn't bother me anymore. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. I'm about to call my boyfriend. I'll be like, oh yeah, that's him calling right now. Can't tell. I should have got a description of his car because they had these beer bottles in the center, but they weren't open. I was like, that's not my jurisdiction. But they also had like red eyes and sunglasses on, so I was like, be careful, you don't know what that means as far as something that could be an aggressive stimulant. It's hot in here. I got long johns on today. I always think about these times as so adventurous and such a free spirit, and we needed to get these classes for him to get his driver's license. So having been forced into the traveling because I had housing issues, houselessness, and living in a tent and losing the tent in a flash flood and all this stuff. Back now it sounds so adventurous, like just to get in your car and just go, and you have no destination spot. The first destination was Reno to get married, but we had no destination spot. And by the way, I'm a marriage officiant. I believe that if you're in Philadelphia, you can, or sorry, Pennsylvania, if you're Quaker, you can say that you're married, that the Spirit led you to be married, and you still have to fill out paperwork. But I think it was like that in Maryland. Colorado, don't quote me on that, I believe is you can marry yourself, but you still, it's like illegal. What I think it should be private. Like, why do you have to have a religious or a court? I can understand the court, I guess, the judge marrying you. It's hard to say, like, you can have a marriage or a bond with somebody and live like you're married if you're not married, and you don't have any rights. You don't have any rights at the hospital and all this stuff. But if you have all that, there's a state and or there's religious backing to this country. So there's basically this government says you need to have this legal decree in order to do all the different things that you're entitled to, all those benefits from being married with someone, which when I did it in Reno, it took longer than it should have. It probably took less than half an hour, because we went in and said we want to get married. It's just, you have to go across the street and get a license. We went and got a license. Like, we walked there, we parked at the animals in the street, walked back in, she performed the wedding, and we're done. And I do not have any pictures from my wedding day. I left it at my dad's, thinking my dad's was a safe place. It got burnt down. So the other copy got left with my ex-husband, and he got thrown in jail. And every picture of my grandmother's, any pictures of my son, and family heirlooms, my gold ring from when I was born. I got a gold ring and a gold necklace, like a baby-sized ring. It's all gone, like solid gold, gone. A lot of stuff I have, but I don't have it here. Me and my boyfriend have more than enough stuff that's been passed on or given to us. It's not necessarily like, hey, I'm going to go buy a bicycle so I can ride a bicycle every day. It's like, hey, we got this and it's been around and it's potentially valuable or it's potentially useful. But when we lived in a garage, we had room for a bed and a chair and a shelf, and we needed actually end up with 2 chairs. How do we end up with 2 chairs? We had to do Zoom meetings and try to set it up, and a TV. Could you imagine living in a garage apartment? The one we were in is smaller than the actual garage. You think 2.5 car garage, that's not too shabby, like that's big, but it's between the stairs, cutting off a bunch of chunk of the I don't know why. I was trying to figure it out. It was probably like 2-3 yards shorter than the actual garage, and the roof, not obviously, but it wasn't a 2-story building with a attic. It was the attic, and it was uninsulated, and it had holes in the roof, and animals up there scratching, and water pouring down in the rain, and windows that didn't work, and the guy's barbecue smoke was coming up right. He put it right under the window, so and he said it wasn't a grill. It was some kind of like heat thing, electric thing, but it was like smoke, meat. I was getting sick, and he'd run the car in the garage, and it wasn't insulated from that either. People would smoke down there, and it'd come right out through the floor, which I never thought was possible. If I burnt sage, it would smell out the whole garage. My boyfriend could smell it, and I want to go home right now because I want to be grateful. That is a lifesaver. I'm gonna have to start my Christmas cards. I'm gonna tell the landlord. Both places are lifesavers. That's just another story. So I ramble on, but I feel like from the meetings I go to, this sounds rude. I allow God to guide me. I usually, I train myself to ask God to guide me what I need to discuss. So that's the thing. And I called my friend and asked her to, credit card skimmer at Pocomoke City Exxon. That's scary. Make sure you check I'm getting weird charges. Like, I'll be like $400 credit card bill, and I'll pay $400, and the next day it's like $250 credit card balance. Like, what? I didn't buy anything since last week. Like, I'm getting weirded out. I know stuff takes a while. I'm excited about trying to get paid early. I just got to show up at work. I won't be too excited getting my check 2 weeks of work for $300, and something that messed up majorly in the unemployment department. That's why the numbers are down. I was not able to sit at home during COVID. Not a bit. I worked my butt off, and I worked mostly out of the house in October, but I had to work and for my business, and I didn't do the eBay and the business stuff that I needed to do until my partner went in because it's too distracting. I don't know if anyone else has this situation, but I do, and it's near impossible. And it's like if you have kids, or if you have kids that are handicapped, a lot of people in my family do have mental disabilities and could probably qualify. It's hard to qualify for physical, like you don't say like you're missing an arm or you're in a wheelchair, but it's like if you were injured in all these accidents and work-related injuries. My right wrist or my right ankle is injured from working at Pizza Hut, and unfortunately I didn't go into the doctor, and I should have that day. I should have left and gone in, but I was such a like mule. Like I just wanted to just do my work and not show up late. And I had been hanging out with this dude, trying to go to his meeting, his Buddhist meetings, not his, but community Buddhist meeting up in the next town. So I was trying to save any kind of like favors from my boss for that twice a month, which would mean I'd come in at 8:30 instead of 6 or whatever, which is hard because he had like kids at home, or sometimes he had his kid by himself. It was kind of and we had inventory that night. Oh my god, it was nice not to. He was really fast at inventory, and you had to inventory at Pizza Hut every single item in the freaking store, down to the forks, guys, to the plates and napkins. Oh my gosh, the packets of those little thingies, those Parmesan cheese and like tomatoes, like everything. Oh my gosh, the oil, the parsley. You had to inventory and write exactly like how much parsley is in it in the container. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine doing that by yourself while you're running the entire store and nobody else is in there? You have one driver, the 4 phone lines, and you had to prepare all the dough for the next day, and you had to start processing like 1,100 school lunches that had to be out the door at 10:30 in the morning or whatever time you had to start delivering. Oh my gosh. Oh, started that job, $12 an hour. People around me are young or old, and this not even, my family is all black, and they all own houses except for me, and they all say these people don't want to work. Why do they have to be people? Don't get on food stamps. You're not working. Get another job. It's like I literally went to go to work 24 hours a day when I was in Portland. And when I did that, the lady knew that I had a job in another job, and she goes, I am not going to hire you because you're going to start calling out sick. I had planned to work 20 hours a day and sleep between the 3 jobs that weren't besides my self-employment, in the car, blanket, change of clothes, wipes, toothbrush, and I was going to go from one job to the next and just change uniforms and clean up and have my food live in the car. And then if I had a day off at this job and only had 1 or 2 jobs the other day, it would be like a huge break, and then I could go back home to my kids. But to keep that low-income housing, $1,900 a month they try to charge for low-income housing, when they say, oh, the other place won't let you, like, oh, you make $1,000 a month. Well, this place is $1,500, or sorry, this place is $500. You need to make 3 times. You need to make $1,500 to live in a $500 apartment. It's like, let me live in a $500 apartment, make $1,000, and pay $200 on all my utilities and $100 a month on gas or a bus pass, and then the rest you're eating bean sprouts and rice and occasional chicken for the kids, and go to the food pantry until you get your payment. I mean, it didn't help that Medicaid didn't pay me. Oh, doctor, you're supposed to be getting over $300 for this patient visit that lasted 3.5 hours, including phone calls, lab orders, lab review, faxing stuff, uploading stuff, calling the other clinic. Oh, well, we decided we're not going to pay you anything because we didn't like your diagnostic code. You hear over and over and over. I used to get paid for this crap, guys. The same diagnostic code, the same CPT code. Now they're not doing it. They're not paying me. And you say, what's the point of spending all that time doing the billing? Why don't I just keep seeing the patient so I don't forget how to be a doctor and go work for the post office in the middle of the night where people are all postal talking about, oh, I was in the military and then one of the reasons I joined it is because I wanted to shoot people. What? Like, what about the pride of your country? What about getting tricked by the GI Bill? You know, what about, oh, a long line of my ancestors? Or I wanted to be in the Air Force to be a pilot. What happened to those dreams? Me, I want to be a doctor and an astronaut and freaking, you know, oh my God. To say you want to go over there so you can get sent to the Middle East and shoot and kill people and maim children. Like, they admitted to it. I'm glad they admitted to it. And they had shrapnel in their body that they would show off during the lunch breaks. I'm grateful for their service. But that has nothing to do with the job, by the way. But it is a little like, it takes a little bit of loony to be able to tolerate it. And I was willing to work at the census and Hambledon Inn in the post office. And guess what? I got laid off. My hours at Pizza Hut went from 36 hours a week to 12 and 15 to 0. They took me off the schedule. My hours at Advantage went from 2 to 4 days a week to 4 to 7 days a week to 0 to 2 days a week. They gave my job to somebody who never showed up at work. Guys, I'm a doctor. I apply for jobs at clinics. I directors at nursing homes, as a phlebotomist, all of these jobs. Oh, you don't qualify. You don't have state certification. Oh, you can't prescribe in that state. What? I know, but can't you just find somebody else? I could prescribe in my home state, Oregon and Washington. So I know the prescriptions. I could document that that's the correct dose and that's the correct thing, and have even another person just, I don't know. In Oregon, you can sign. Well, you had nurses working under you, but in Oregon, it's like you can have somebody on your behalf sign for you. But that's the point of them trying to have me be that person, right? I was like, there's a point. Family nurse practitioner. I don't know different rules about PAs prescribing. I was gonna go to school to be a family nurse practitioner. It's like, oh, if I could prescribe, I could have got that job. $8,000 a month. Do you guys realize I went to I applied for over $300 a month. I went to that interview. $8,000 a month for this place for hospice. And I ended up working $12 an hour picking up trash for the county. And what everyone says, quit that job, quit that job, quit that job. No, nobody else would hire me. Now you guys saw that gate in this video. Sorry, I'm crying. I gotta go. And that's my job being automated. So I'm no longer needed. I used to open the gate and open the ropes and clean up the trash and clean up the piers and, you know, pick up some of the toilet paper out of the bathroom until the cleaner came, flush the toilet, people left crap in there, and then I'd come here and do the same thing. Now my job is automated and anyone can pick up trash. Nobody wants to come here at 4:45 and open up gates. 5 o'clock. So they're going to give the lowest paid employee who has no benefits, no holiday pay, had to work every holiday last year, $12 an hour? It's like, and people say you don't want to work. I've been applying for jobs my whole life. I've applied for like 6 jobs this week, or 8. I don't even know. I've been doing assessments on Indeed, and they're like, you have to speak up to do them. And I've been trying to like update my resume, and I have my Indeed one that's so long, and the USA Jobs, and then I'm like grants for my business and charting for my patients and trying to bill and say I haven't got paid in like since like March for Tower of Health LLC. Insurance has I have a stack of bills thousands of dollars. They paid zero, guys. And I had to go home where I don't have an office, where I have a mate and the kids and this and that and the rabbit needs fluff. Like, you guys have a pet store, 2 of them, within 1 mile of your freaking house. Like, I'm still injured from a Pizza Hut and the car accident and that concert in July. And my wrist, I'm going to physical therapy. I got sick from the COVID booster for 18 hours, and I felt really great the next day. Like, I felt pretty great. I can't believe it. Anyways, I'm gonna go home and make this detox tea. I don't care if I have to stay up all night. I'm gonna grab the stainless steel pan. I'm just gonna rinse it really well with the lid, and I'm gonna measure out the water. I got a measuring cup. All the stuff that I got at the Goodwill actually was on my list to replace my boyfriend's cup or bowl, to do the Pyrex cup, the Visions has been on my list forever, and I actually got some through eBay, but they're not here. There's a bunch of stuff like that we got. The Pillsbury Doughboy pepper shaker was not on the list, or was it a salt shaker? I don't know the difference. I think it's the one with 2 holes. I hope there's nothing scary inside. I'm gonna call my boyfriend, guys. Bye.